Last week, we did Ratchet and Clank Going Commando with only the mini turrets. And as someone who plays Ratchet and Clank for a living, it would be insane for me to not try this same challenge, but with the next game in this series. That being said, can you beat Ratchet and Clank up your arsenal with only the mini turret glove? Let's find out. But before we get started, let's go over some basic rules for those of you who are new to these kinds of challenges, and or just new to the channel. Welcome if you are new. The rules will be the same for this challenge as they were for Going Commando. We're only allowed to use the mini turret to defeat enemies. We are not allowed to use the wrench on enemies, but we're also not allowed to use the wrench on crates to refill ammo, nanotech, or to even collect bolts. We are also banned from buying ammo. The only way to receive ammo is by either having enemies destroy the crates for us, or to have the mini turrets destroy the crates for us, which is fortunately possible in this game, unlike Going Commando. As a bonus rule, as always, we will not be buying any armor throughout the entire playthrough, meaning we will be dying a lot more and a lot faster than usual, with the late game enemies killing Ratchet in a single hit. Now, normally we don't get the turrets until Aquatos, but like most challenges we do, we debug in the mini turrets at the start of the game so that we can start with them right from the get-go. Fortunately for us, the turrets are very broken in this game, and since we're not even supposed to have them yet, they were very powerful, even against the large gunships. They are, however, not strong enough to defeat gravity, as I unfortunately jumped off the edge here. The second portion was just as easy with plenty of health and ammo crates for the turrets to destroy, keeping us stocked. With Florana, I would normally decide to skip the first section and head straight to the path of death, but this time around I actually decided to go through with the main path. The first section was a pain since I barely had any ammo. I had to rely on a lot of enemies to destroy some crates for me. I also went to get all the bolts in the 2x multiplier room, and apparently Insomniac forgot to code the 2x multiplier crate as a crate, so the turrets actually aren't smart enough to target them. Thanks, Insomniac. Anyways, most of the struggle with this level was just the lack of ammo. We had to try our best to get as much ammo as possible. By the time I get through this next section, I forgot to actually get the checkpoint trigger and died, bringing me back to the start of the level. Definitely not my proudest moment. The rest of the level was manageable as long as we kept up the ammo, and the Qwark fight was easy since ammo spawns infinitely. Marcadia started off easy since we started this level with full ammo, which was plenty enough to get us to the dropship. The first mission was really easy since fortunately every mission on this planet refills ammo before starting it, which was really helpful since this entire arena section only features 3 total ammo crates per round, which is not nearly enough. The second mission was a bit tighter, so we had to place our turrets very strategically to be sure we didn't run out. And we actually did unfortunately run out and failed the mission for the first time ever, just because of the lack of ammo. Also, apparently when the Rangers say, if we lose the whole squad, it's all over, they're actually not lying. When the last one died, the mission immediately failed. This was something I never knew. They always said it, but I was like, there's no way that's actually real. It actually is. Has anybody ever failed the mission like this? I'm genuinely curious. I had to try just to fail this. Anyways, we did get through this second try, and then the third and fourth missions featuring the turret were very easy. The first one, we're forced to do the turret, so there's nothing we can do about it. But technically, it is a turret, so you could kind of say it's allowed in this challenge. And for the fourth one, I just grabbed this ledge, avoiding all shots from enemies for 2 minutes straight. For anybody who's not aware, if you just ledge grab right here, you are invincible. They cannot hit you, and most of the time they don't hit the Rangers either. The fifth mission with the bolt cranks was actually easier this time since I had turrets to defend me against the enemies. And as for the laser defense facility, there were absolutely no troubles here. We did, however, use Ghost Ratchet to get by here even quicker. Annihilation Nation was also an easy clap, is what I would have said if I didn't somehow die twice. The 10 waves of enemies was slightly tough as ammo only spawned every few rounds, but it wasn't too bad. I just had to be a bit conservative here and there to make sure we didn't waste too many turrets on rounds where ammo crates didn't spawn. Aquatos definitely threw an Omni Wrench 8000 in our plans. The main issue here was, as you could have guessed it, ammo. And Skid. Unfortunately, Skid is just a scared little sack, and we have to take out every enemy in his vicinity before he will actually use the hacker to make us progress. And this was very annoying because there would be like one amoeboid straggler that I would have to waste an entire turret just to kill so that Skid would progress. This happened a few times with there being 1 to 2 enemies just barely out of range. We got stuck at this section then because I ran out of ammo here and I couldn't reach this robot guy. I tried to get him to destroy this ammo crate, but he really was not cooperating with me. Fortunately though, I noticed one of the crates across the bridge where he is broke open, so I jumped down to go pick it up, and fortunately I was close enough in range to pick it up, and we were able to take him out. Unfortunately, on this specific attempt, I actually died by a mine in the water that I didn't actually see, which was actually a blessing in disguise, as it allowed me to get more ammo overall, which made the rest of the level a lot easier. Not to mention, the big amoeboids only took around a turret or two to die, which was a little surprising to me. I was expecting them to be a little bit stronger, and these guys at the end all died to a single turret, fortunately, and one Clank and Tira guy section later, we end up on Tyrannosis. The Tyrannosis encampment was a good net positive on ammo, until I wasted 3 to destroy this nipple thing here. Talk about a skill issue. Getting ammo in these sections was very complicated with the insane amount of enemies trying to kill me. This was definitely our biggest struggle on this planet in each and every section. We barely had enough ammo, and I knew we would need some for the boss. This strategy wasn't that successful, and I only ended up with 7 turrets by the time we got to the boss. Fortunately, the boss has far too much thickness to control. That being said, she has the ability to destroy the ammo crates for us in each phase. And to be fair, it only took around 5 turrets per phase, making this boss very possible and very easy to beat with only the turrets. On Dax, we get the charge boots and head to the gunship fight. I was worried the turrets weren't going to be able to reach him, but fortunately, they did. The main path was the tricky part of this planet. Again, because of ammo, and because at this point in the game, I am an easy 2-shot. Getting inside the building wasn't terrible, but the inside was definitely challenging. We had a lot of enemies to take out with very limited ammo, not to mention in between all of this was a 4-hour hacker intermission. I hate these hacker sections. They are definitely the worst in the franchise. This last room took every bit of ammo we had to take out these robots, and to be completely honest, I was expecting to have trouble with the sniper guys here, but somehow they decided to just have terrible aim this time around. Thanks, Insomniac. On Obani Gemini, I wanted to flex and beat this level without the refractor. All you have to do for this is just jump over the bridge with a wrench SI, and then use the jump pad at the end to force your way through this force field by getting into this particular spot. Pretty cool, right? On Obani Pollux, we just avoided every enemy we could while collecting a good amount of ammo. Blackwater City was a bit annoying with some enemies moving out of the way and avoiding turrets, because on this mission they have a set path that they're supposed to go to. This ended up being very annoying and made me have to use a lot more turrets than I was anticipating. Mission 2 and 3 were absolutely free, though unfortunately at this point in the game we now have V5 turrets. And I discovered something very unfortunate about the maxed out turrets. For some reason, when they become V5, they become brain dead and lose the ability to sense and destroy crates, which is a huge loss on our part. We can now only rely on enemies to destroy ammo crates. This is going to make the latter half of the game a genuine pain in the arsenal. Get it? Nation 2 was no trouble at all given the few enemies required and the immense lack of strength Scorpio had.
When it came to Hollowstar Studios, you guys are probably going to notice that I only have 11 health here, and that's because in my initial playthrough, I decided to skip the level using the Nitro launcher and the turrets combined, which is something that's not allowed, and I didn't realize that until after the playthrough. So I re-recorded it under a brand new profile, which actually gave us a disadvantage. Now all we had to do for Hollowstar was just take out these few rooms of enemies. As soon as we got to this area where the hacker section is, we could actually clip into this corner. And as soon as we clipped into this corner, we can just walk right through this area, straight to the ship, completing Hollowstar Studios.
The Courtney Gears fight was a challenge. The fight luckily gave us full ammo from the start, allowing us to get an early lead. We would have to use the backup dancers to destroy ammo crates if we wanted any from this point forward. This would work until Courtney came out to fight us, in which case we just had to make sure we had plenty of ammo. Unfortunately, I am terrible at this game apparently and couldn't dodge her moves properly. Luckily, the second time around went a lot better. And as per usual, Zeldrin Starport was an absolute breeze. I ran past the enemies on the way in, and I ran right past them on the way out, just like most of us normally do. Now it's time for Metropolis, where the pacing of this challenge really takes a harsh turn.
I ran through the first portion of this level, forcing myself to get to the first checkpoint, as the first checkpoint is very early on in the level. This only took around a try or two. At this point, we now have robot enemies, which are absolute powerhouses against our turrets. This was a problem. Most of our strategy here was to collect ammo, since most of the ammo crates are next to explosive crates, and as much as most of these enemies are skippable, I did have to end up killing a lot of them, since most of them are either in the way, or they're the big guys which are able to one-shot me.
After some crazy maneuvers, we dodged some enemies until we get to the grav ramp section, where we actually got lucky enough to defeat the enemies on it, giving us just enough ammo for the rest of the required enemies. We bust out the refractor and move on to the Clunk fight. Also, I want to apologize if I sound sick. I'm a bit under the weather. Anyways, as you guys know, ammo spawns infinitely here during the Clunk fight, provided you have a way to destroy the crates. Unfortunately, Clunk's shockwave move doesn't actually have the ability to destroy these crates. Fortunately, his missiles do. We have to maneuver very carefully to manipulate his rockets into hitting the crates while avoiding taking damage on top of that. This was not an easy task. I died a few times trying to grab the ammo, but after a few attempts and an immense amount of patience, this battle was barely possible. When it came to Crash Site, I wasn't even going to attempt this level. I decided to run right past every enemy on the way to the escape pod, and I actually did this first try. Unfortunately, I forgot to hit the record button as this was day 2 of editing. So I had to do it all again, and this time around it was not a first try endeavor. Usually Aridia is a roadblock for challenge runs like this, but this time around it wasn't actually that bad. Mission 1 and 2 are a breeze as always. Mission 3 tends to be the hardest mission on Aridia, tasking us to take out 6 enemy commanders. This mission was definitely still tricky with the commanders taking around 3 turrets to kill, not to mention the plenty of enemies guarding them. We died a few times on this mission, but with enough strategy and enough ammo collecting, we were able to defeat them. I felt pretty proud of how I handled this last one, using first person to get that extra aim to throw it over to that platform so I didn't have to risk tanking any hits. We were able to take out the last one, completing this mission. Mission 4 required some careful routing to avoid most of the enemies and damage taken. Mission 5 gives us plenty of ammo to take out every enemy in this section, though I did die to the last enemy, but fortunately got lucky enough that the mission complete screen still showed up, so my death did not matter. Time to use the warp pad to warp to Qwark's hideout. Oh wait, never mind. This thing is more useless than Qwark's second crotchetizer.
Ew.
I mean, seriously, why did he even need a second one? That's kind of weird. Does Qwark canonically have 2? Never mind. Now when it comes to Qwark's hideout, I had a very simple strategy in place. Make it to this final portion of the level with full ammo and full health, so that we could take out all of the mandatory Qwark bots. All other Qwark bots are entirely skippable. And don't worry, this definitely did not take me 21 tries to do without getting hit a single time. And yeah, don't worry, I definitely didn't want to throw my controller out the window. And do not worry, I don't want to find the devs who made this level and use the Rhinocerator on them. Don't worry, that's not the case at all. Qwark's hideout definitely went smoothly. Anyways, after that bloodbath, it is now time for Phoenix Rescue. And Phoenix Rescue was multitudes harder than I expected it to be. All we had to do was take out this room of enemies blocking the refractor section. These are the only mandatory enemies to kill. We were able to get 3 ammo crates on the way to the room, so anytime we died, we'd be able to get more ammo. My problem here was that even though I could make it here with full ammo, it's not even enough. Not only can these guys one-shot me, and the fact that they did multiple times, but it's mainly the fact that all 12 rounds of turrets wasn't even enough to take out all of the ninjas. This was a huge problem. It seemed to me like this actually wouldn't be possible, which is insane to me given that it's the freaking Starship Phoenix. But before giving up, I tried something from my old speedrunning days, and after a few attempts, I was actually able to make it over this gap, making it to the other side, finishing the level without a single enemy being required to kill. I never expected Phoenix Rescue to ever be a challenge, but damn was this level tricky. Koros was just a Mario Kart track with 0 required enemies as per usual, just charge boot to the finish and you're fine. Command Center was unfortunately a different story. Now again, our plan for Mylon was very simple. Rush through, do the Tira guys section, zoom through every single enemy. You can actually charge boot through this entire section until you get to the hacker. Once you get to the hacker, you actually don't get hit here until after the section, which is fine because you just respawn and skip every enemy again. The only enemies that are technically required to be killed are these 3 Tyrannoids in the refractor room, because we have to open the door with the refractor. So we had to make sure we had enough ammo for these guys, which was definitely a tougher ask than I was expecting. But after we get through here, these enemies used to be required, until I remembered that the cutscene trigger for the Nefarious fight is actually way larger than you'd think. So if you just jump this corner, you can actually make it to the trigger without killing these enemies at all. So this was my plan for Mylon. You guys can obviously imagine it definitely wasn't a first try endeavor, but I didn't expect it to be a 40 try endeavor, which is closer to what it was.
This level was just very mean to me for absolutely no reason. We were able to get through it though with some good ammo conservation and some good luck. And unfortunately, when it came to the Dark Nefarious fight, this is just in no way possible. We are able to get him to his second phase, but just getting to his second arena, we do not have enough ammo, and he does not spawn ammo frequently enough for it to be possible. So unfortunately, is it possible to beat Ratchet and Clank Upper Arsenal with only the mini turrets? Just like going commando? No, it isn't. Now, I'm sure with some glitchy shenanigans, we could do it. A lot of people were saying we could have potentially beat going commando with some glitchy shenanigans. It might be possible in this. From how I played the challenge, it was not possible. If you would like to try this challenge yourself and prove me wrong, I am perfectly okay with that. Challenge accepted. It very well might be possible, but I lack the skill to do it. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I will see you guys in the next one. If you get to 5,000 subscribers, I'll 100% every single Ratchet & Clank game, and it's looking like I'm going to have to play Ratchet & Clank with only the Morpho Ray. So if you guys want to see that, be sure to subscribe. Thank you to all my members. Your guys' support means absolute world to me, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but I will actually have a member video out very soon. Hope you guys look forward to it. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Baninja out.